Hey everybody. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about, I don't know, domestic violence, fun, and Diddy because of the trial and that coming to a conclusion. And for some reason I thought because it was like the federal government, I thought they actually would, that it would just, they wouldn't go through all this for nothing. I thought they would have like an outcome that they expected. And now that it didn't happen and it was like the feds, I was like, wow, maybe. And I'm just starting to like wonder if it was all like some type of, I don't know, like diversion or something. Like, how are you going to go through all that just for nothing, And I just hate that. I cannot imagine being like so pregnant like Cassie was and have to like take this stand and like rehash all this shit. And it's so um weird. It's weird for me to look back in a position where I have been with like partners who were abusive and mentally and physically abusive, and it is so odd to look back on it and to really like kind of assess the situation through more objective eyes and see like who I was when I was there and what I thought about and why I'm not there now. Because I never felt like I was in an abusive relationship. And that's the strange thing, for me at least. I bet for a lot of people, because um, maybe I'm just saying this because of my own experience, but it seems like a lot of abuse falls in like this gray area, where it's not just like you are this cowering woman in the corner who's like making up excuses for like, oh, I fell on a flight of stairs or anything. There's like that really crystal clear, like, this is the abuser, um, of those type of relationships. But most of them, or at least all of them from my experience, were just not like that. And I think that is because, well, people are complicated and relationships are complicated, and we have a lot of different reasons for why we do things, but also because the hard truth is, from the way I see it, looking back on my past, reflecting on who I was then, who I am now, and why I was, where I was at then versus now. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that it doesn't feel very comfortable for me to say that we accept or even like seek out abuse. And because it's obviously it's not going to be done consciously, but you have to co-sign that for the degree to which you are in it. And I think there are very few exceptions. Of course there are exceptions, but most relationships, it's not with someone who literally cannot leave. Most people are not literally being held captive, like chained up somewhere. The vast majority of relationships where there is abuse involved, it's like they can leave technically, literally, but they haven't. So why haven't you done something that you technically can? And that is like the question of humanity. Every single person on the planet has that thing in their life. And I was talking about it a few videos back, like the Achilles heel of your life and my life. We all have that Achilles heel where it is like the thing that we have to overcome, and we can see, what it is. And it's like for some people, it's going to manifest in, like with weight or dieting. And some people are going to be like 600 pounds on my so-called, or my so-called life, my 600-pound life. And some people are going to be like super restrictive and, dying of malnourishment, like just full-blown anorexia, like Eugenia Cooney is. And it's like, why are some people 600 pounds and some people are 60 pounds as a full grown, adult body? Like, it's it has to be similar things. And it's like, why do we accept and co-sign on abusing ourselves or allowing ourselves to be abused? And we all agree to a certain level of like punishment, I think, and pain. And even like the stuff where it's not extreme, like an abusive relationship. And a lot of times you can't even see that those extremes yourself, let alone like the outside, your friend circle and family and stuff, until like hindsight. But why can we not see, um, when it's like subtle, when it's just people who maybe they're not hundreds of pounds overweight. Maybe they're like 60 pounds overweight, or maybe they have a high metabolism, but they still eat literal garbage every day. And this is a sick, sick, sick society that we have been born into, to where it is acceptable to eat garbage every day. And now it's like this shit has been coming to light, and it is just really becoming inevitable that when you seek out chaos, your life will become chaotic, and it will not, at the end of the day, satiate or satisfy in the way that you sought, because you are seeking that like deeper, that deeper truth. And I used to think back, like I knew all the reasons why I liked the people that I liked, that I dated, including abusers. And I never thought of myself as an abused woman. I really didn't. And when some people sometimes, like, people would bring it up, even like my mother specifically would bring it up, or like a close friend a couple of times. And it was like, no, it's not like that. And I was like so dismissive of it, but it's not even like I was just brushing it off or like laughing externally. I really believed it. I was like, no, you have it all wrong. It's not at all what you think, because they would see like some bruises on my arms or something like that. Because I never had bruises on my face. I never like cowered. I always like, you know, gave as much as I got. And so I thought, because I fought back, because we had a volatile relationship, a very toxic relationship, and I was a very toxic person, attracted to that toxicity. And because it was like a reflection of my own sickness, I thought that it wasn't what it was. And I look back now and I was like, wow, yeah, I fought back. And there were like a couple times where I was really proud of myself for like the way I handled it. But this was like a big ass man who was like quick to fight, quick to like not take any shit from anybody. This big man who was like, God, like almost 100 pounds. I mean, I'm not for sure, like maybe 75 pounds, way, way bigger, way more muscular than me. And I was like, that should have never happened. But it's not up to me to be like, why was he like that? It's not up to anybody to try to really, it's such a, just a pointless conversation to be like, why do abusers abuse? Because they're abusers. That's my answer. And I think anything beyond that is really just a waste of breath. And I've seen that mentioned a lot. Like, well, people say, why do women stay and this and that, but I think the question should be, why are men abusers? Certain men, obviously not all men, obviously not most men. But I disagree with that. If you want to study that in your fucking downtime or whatever, or really like try to figure out the psyche of an abuser, of course that's fine, but it's pointless, because they're abusers, and they are always going to be abusers, and they are always going to abuse, and someone is always going to fill that role of that really broken piece of shit partner. And it's something to do with the brokenness, of course, and the testosterone. Not most men, like I said, are not like that, but most abusers are men. Not all, but most. It's like that certain level of just fucked upness, where it's like that violence and that really like darkness it's like when a man is broken, when a woman is broken, we primarily turn that abuse and shame inward. And when men are broken to that degree, they oftentimes primarily turn it outward. That's been my experience, like by far. Um, and I'd say statistically that's accurate too, although I'm not for sure. But we really, there are always going to be those pieces of shit. So we have to say, not like, it ends with us or whatever. Fuck that. We have to say it ends with ourselves, We have to, as humans, like love ourselves enough to say, yeah, I don't know where I'm going or who I'm going to end up with or how my life is going to look or necessarily what I want to do. But sometimes it is absolutely the first step, but the only step you can take. And the only step there is to take to say, okay, but I'm not going to be that person anymore who just takes, who just puts up with any type of physical, mental, or sexual abuse. The mental is so fucked up too. I never understood it until I was in a different relationship that was mental, not physical. I never understood like how, oh my God, it's just like, it's so insidious, like the mind games. It, to live on like these pins and needles constantly. You don't know what is going to set them off and how that's going to go. You truly become a prisoner of your own mind. But it's like all these fucking cages. That's what I'm saying. Like we are prisoners. We're born into these systems that are toxic, that are fucked up, that the system hates us and it teaches us to hate ourselves. We learned like self-loathing. We learned how to poison ourselves from our parents, role models, guardians. Like, as far as the eye can see, everybody has that one thing. And until you really pump the brakes and consciously, honestly look inward and say, okay, well, what is going on here? What do I need to address? Why am I doing this? That thing is going to dictate your life. And so it's just like a lot of ugliness, a lot of like hate that we see. And it's just, I don't understand the how he was found not guilty. Maybe I'm just like missing something, but the way what I saw, which I really didn't follow it because honestly, it doesn't matter. These people are pieces of shit, and if you are a rich ass person and you are in prison, then that person is the lowest of the low, one of the biggest pieces of shit on the planet. If you are rich and you are incarcerated, then damn, they must have done something like wretched, horrible, because money, you just can. Very few people who have money, but people with money do not make the prison industrial complex system go round. They don't. It's people who don't have money. It's like there's like this socioeconomic war, and jails and prisons and institutions are like the concentration camps of like this war on poverty, but it's really like a war on the impoverished. And it's just so fucked up. All these, like, I had never been around such generational poverty, such illiteracy. You could see the cycles so clearly when I was incarcerated. Like, it was a big deal that that I had like sense, that I could read, that I had sense, and that I had teeth, like all of them. That was a big deal. I was like, oh shit, I was like the prom queen of the jailhouse pod. It was crazy. Because I was so much more, because my parents were middle class public school teachers in one of the most impoverished counties in this big ass country. And I was still like considered, rich, lucky, well to do compared to a lot of people I grew up with, and then a lot of people that I was incarcerated with too. But these systems are sick. These people are sick. I mean, I don't know how he got off. By the way, I understood it was like that there's that video. I mean, that doesn't just show like, oh, he's an abusive piece of shit, the lowest of the low. Of course it shows that, but that video, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I took it as that showed that she was trying to leave fucking barefoot on foot, and he fucking, oh my God, we saw it. He did what he did. And because it just like sickened me, Bill Maher, which I only saw it because of Maureen Callahan. I don't have HBO anymore. I kind of gave up on him he was a big part of my awakening, kind of like Rage Against the Machine was a big part of my awakening to this zeitgeist in 2020. But, a lot of people, and of course, not surprised, not really, it's a lot of fucking obnoxious dipshit men who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground are like, well, wait a second, 10 years ago, it looks like it was, you were pretty a willing participant or whatever. And it's just so, like I said, abuse is very rarely, um, just somebody like being held captive, case closed. It is very rarely just someone who, like a woman who it's like, oh my God, just this frail woman who cannot under any circumstances like escape the prison of her living arrangement with her piece of shit partner. It is so often like these psychological games and this manipulation and this, oh well, nobody's ever gonna love you like I love you. You're a fucking dumbass if you think you're ever gonna have this again. You were one way when I met you, and that's why I'm with you, but you're a ruined woman now. Nobody's ever gonna want you. And this is the thing, these are the things I heard personally. And if you are young, if there is a power imbalance, if there's a money imbalance, a fame imbalance, I mean, that's it, I mean, they have you. And that's why I said it's like there are always going to be men who do this, and women too. I don't want to hear it. But there are always going to be these pieces of trash who do this, but it has to be, us that says, they're going to do that no matter what, because they are a broken fucking piece of shit, and that is their journey, and for them, they need to do themselves. But I am not going to be the one that is on the receiving end of this. And I just thought it was like, showed a lot of strength that Cassie, like so pregnant, got up there and just had to like rehash, oh my God, like all these details. And you think that something is okay in the moment when you know for a fact also in your heart of hearts that it is not okay. And you think and you act from that wounded place of saying, well, I'll go along with it. It is what it is. I'll change one of these days. Tomorrow's always tomorrow, right? You say that I said that with addiction. Everybody says that with their thing. I said that with domestic violence, like, well, it's better than nothing. We have all these lies that we say to get to this point, and it's like, it's okay until it's not okay. And then when it's not okay, it could be years, it could be this circumstance that you find yourself in that it's like, this looks an awful lot like stuck. And then once it's not okay, it's okay until it's not. And then once it's not, you just continue to say these like complex justifications in your head to make that okay, even though it's not, until you can actually get to a place and saying, this is enough. The buck stops with me. Fuck you. It doesn't end with us. It ends with me, and actually, leave or attempt to leave, because that is when most women, can't leave, because they are off by their partner. But so to just be like, oh well, you were enjoying it like once upon a time. No, we've seen the videos. Like, why would you even say that? And Bill Maher, I mean, HBO, and on top of that, like the thing, I won't even go into it, but the Phoenix Rising, the Evan Rachel Wood, that is the flip side of abuse. It's so weird how Evan Rachel Wood and Amber Heard went after Manson and Johnny Depp. And I say went after because as a victim, as a woman, as someone with, cognizant thought, my gut soul reaction told me these don't make sense. Evan Rachel Wood, it didn't make sense to me. I didn't believe it in my gut. I was like, this is disingenuous. It hit me like only the true truth can hit. I did not buy it. Amber Heard, same thing. I did not buy it. Not to mention, she said on the Johnny Depp thing that she was essayed with a bottle and it broke, and there was like, broken skin bleeding from a bottle. I knew someone who that happened to in the past, and she was rendered infertile, or not infertile, but like she couldn't have children. It screwed up, permanent damage to her reproductive system because she was so screwed up from that type of vicious assault. And to just like rehash it, like, you can just tell, I'm sorry, your gut is, and that's another thing. Oh my God, we have been taught to not trust our feelings, especially as women, to apologize for the way we feel, for our instincts, for our gut instincts. We've been taught to be like, oh, I'm sorry, but your gut is not wrong. And, abuse, it's going to be a lot more like in the head if it's coming from a woman, and it's going to be that type of like psychological torment. Um, and with men, it's going to be like the violent thing, but you don't have to hype it up when it's true. You just have to say what happened. And it just like disgusts me that we saw what the fuck happened, and that wasn't just Sean Combs being a piece of shit, like dragging her like that. When you saw the pieces of it, in my eyes, when I saw the pieces of it, like, oh yeah, well, he was paying for everything. He had made all these promises. They were like locked into this cycle of like, it's like a shit circling the drain for years, where he has all this power and she has none, and it's her life, and it takes a long time to like turn that around, because it has to come from you, and you have to make these major changes and find this strength when you are in the middle of this shit storm that has been building and brewing and going on for years, or over an extended period of time. So it's crazy. And to me, that like, I don't know, but it's really not surprising. So, in conclusion, I'm just gonna say, like, I don't even know if I'll post this. It was pretty something. It feels a little bit intense, but um, I'm not surprised at all. Fucking men with power. It's not even like men, but it really is, because most men aren't abusers. No shit. Women are abusers too. No shit. But most abusers are men. And if you are a person with money, if you are a victim, and you had the funds, then you're going to get justice. And if you were a perpetrator and you have the funds, then don't even worry about it. Evidently, it's just like sickening. This whole thing. It's such unjust justice. But that's my 2 cents. And if you are a woman or a person or whoever in this situation, and it's bad, just find a safe way to just leave them behind. And I know that's like easier said than done, but it really does. Like I said, it's like, it's not about it ends with us. It has to like end within yourself. Like, no more, because they are the broken piece of shit abuser. But you have to find the inner strength, and we all do have to find the strength inside of us, and the love for ourselves inside of our own hearts, to say, I am not going to be the victim of you, this circumstance, that circumstance, because I'm not going to look at myself as deserving of nothing more than just like these weak ass poisonous men and circumstances. So y'all have a good night.